Hi, this is the only chance I was going to get to talk about what happened with the mayor of San Juan, Carmen Yulín, and her criticism on CNN with the response that the people of Puerto Rico have received from our federal government. The fact that she feels that logistics are somehow the federal government's fault. The fact that things are not reaching the Puerto Rican people. This is a situation when there is a disaster such as what happened there or happened in Texas or Florida. The government is there to assist and complement the efforts of the local government, and this makes total sense. You actually, if you go into the FEMA website and their training manuals, you can see how it clearly shows the responsibility of the local, state, and federal government in managing a disaster. There have been a number of studies assessing what ended up being the best practice in dealing with them, who should take the lead for what. And they have found that definitely everything should be left to the local level as much as possible. And why is that? I can only think of an analogy. If something happens in your home, in your basement, and you have a problem with your electrical box and and there's like an electrical fire or what have you, you know your home very well. You know how, maybe knocking this switch is going to affect another one, which in turn is going to cause something to malfunction in the house, and it's going to be costly. And you know your house, you know the history of your house, you know how it works, you know where everything is. And that's why you should be the one directing everything. Your neighbor could come in, he could be absolutely better prepared to deal with it than you are, but the fact that they're not familiar with your home is going to make everything proceed a lot slower, and in the end it's going to be more harmful. So that is the premise behind it. The only time that the federal government can actually take over even logistics for distribution, is if the local government says, you know what, I cannot handle this, I need you to take over. The reason that doesn't happen often is because you can imagine that could end up in political suicide. If a governor or mayor ends up saying, you know what, I can't handle it, you have to take over. This is what's happening in Puerto Rico, which Carmen Yulín has neglected to point out. The good governor of Puerto Rico, Rosselló, he has a problem. He has had a problem with a little local mafia, which is the truckers union. They seem to have a beef with the governor's law that he passed months ago, something that they were not in agreement with. Well, now there's a gentleman by the name of Victor Rodriguez, and he seems to be the leader of this union. And he was caught. He knew he was being interviewed, but he is on tape openly defying the governor, and even the journalist interviewing him say, but sir, don't you understand this is an emergency? I don't know why you keep talking about the law this and the law that. That's in the past. We need to be in this together. That man, Mr. Rodriguez, he kept ranting and raving, and we are working for the people, directly for the people. If we don't move if we don't move, nothing moves in Puerto Rico, and it's not going to move, quote, for 2 years. The disgust that people are feeling in Puerto Rico after they've seen this interview, you can imagine, okay? So no, it is not the federal government that's dragging their feet, or they have no idea. She put it in a way that she seemed like she was appreciative of the help that's being offered. But come on, the U.S. can do this. Come on, you can just, even if you have to yourself put a chain of people and have them unload everything from the containers. Come on, you can do this. Making us look like a bunch of incompetent idiots. So ungrateful it is. So anyway, that's a little detail that she failed to mention. This is not the federal government doing this. This is us having to go through the good governor who has an enormous problem with truckers that refuse to show to work. Not all of them are able to. A lot of them are able to. Now that Facebook is getting more activity, now that more and more people, as they get Wi-Fi up and running, or they do it from their places of business, we are getting more and more stories about truckers showing up in people's homes trying to sell diesel, black market, or gasoline, so anywhere between $10 and $20. And the Puerto Ricans have that share these stories with us. They are so incensed with the audacity of these thugs that as much as they needed the diesel and the gas, they did not buy it, but they're reporting it. So again, Carmen Yulín, very very dishonest to attack our government and just and the way all the help that's been sent since before the storm. Everything is documented. There are videos, there are pictures, plenty on a daily basis. If you want to know, you go to the Department of Defense website. You can go to the FEMA website, and you will find that there is a section there for not just for this situation. It's for anything they do. Everything is documented. If you want to know, you can go straight to their website and find out all the video proof and images. And for anybody who's like, well, yeah, they probably posted that, but that was after the fact because they were actually slow. There are ways, you don't have to be too tech savvy. There are ways to find out when exactly these things were uploaded to the internet. And yes, I went ahead and double checked it. And these were exactly as they were stamped on the article or on the photo. They were uploaded the 19th of September, the 20th of September, the 21st, etc. So it's before, during, and after the storm. As far as La Señora Yulín and why could she possibly want to omit the fact that this is not something that the federal government could just come in and take over and tell the governor step aside and we're going to do this and you're just in the way. She belongs, I understand she used to belong to the Independence Party. Okay, this is one that has never won it. It's a very small minority in Puerto Rico, but that has never been, they've never been found of being associated with the United States. Hence, Partido Independentista, Independence Party. She, to run for mayor, she ended up registering herself as one from the Partido Popular Democrático, which is the equivalent to the Democratic Party in the States. Okay, even the governor Rosselló, he was a Hillary delegate in 2008. He was an Obama delegate in 2012. I mean, he's a Democrat. And if you listen to him and not Señora Mrs. Independentista Yulín, the governor has been so incredibly thankful and complimentary of all the efforts, using phrases like, quote, above and beyond. Okay, and these are tapes that he has made going back to before, during, and after the storm. But of course, those don't get much press coverage. Señora Yulín does. And just one more thing to put it in perspective, the kind of person that Señora Yulín is, besides all the little scandals that you can Google and find out that she's been involved in. She was a huge and loud advocate for the release of Oscar. Lopez Rivera, I think his name is. Anyway, is the terrorist who was responsible for several deaths in the United States. Through the bombs. I think he served 35 years, and of course Obama commuted his sentence because Obama had to show in his mind that Hispanics, that he's a friend of Hispanics, and we had to let little Oscar go. Well, she was quite the vocal advocate for getting him released, which to me that speaks volumes about the kind of person she is. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to share the knowledge and set the record straight, because our government has absolutely come through for the good people of Puerto Rico, who most of them are extremely appreciative. They do understand what's going on. So this is not meant to correct the record with Puerto Ricans. This is meant to correct the record with everybody in the mainland, okay, many are jumping on the bandwagon, using this for political purposes to attack our president. So anyway, like I said, my 2 cents. Everybody, moral of the story, do your homework. Bye.